Hello everybody! First of all, happy Pride Month! Happy Pride Month! I love Pride Month. There's going to be some LGBTQ themed videos coming this month. Some of them are sad, some of them are not sad. So be prepared for that. Today's video is mostly about the fact that I just put out a new podcast. I'm so excited about it. Okay, so it's called Corner of the Sky, which, if you don't know, is the name of a song from Pippin, and it is the song that my show choir sings every semester, and I just like it. It's like, hey, here's our corner of the sky here on this nice podcast. I've been working on this for months, so I'm really excited that it's out now. Every episode is about a different musical. So the first one is about Phantom of the Opera, and I recorded it with my friend Caroline, and I think it's really fun. I had so much fun recording them. I really hope you enjoy listening to them. And you can actually find them on the Incomparable Network. So if you go to theincomparable.com/COTS, or go to Twitter at COTS Podcast, and you can find everything there. And I'm gonna move my hands a lot because I'm really excited. Now, the show is not actually created as an Incomparable show. I launched it last Friday. It's supposed to be launched Thursday. I had a fight with iTunes, and then things got put back by a day, but it's fine. So it got released, and then like an hour later, Jason Snell messaged me and was like, hey, I like your idea. Do you want to put it on the Incomparable? And I was like, where were you a week ago? But of course I said yes, and because The Incomparable is an incredible network and I love everyone on there. All of this happened really fast because he messaged me and I was like, yeah, of course, I'd be so excited to join, but also, do you want me to keep publishing as normal? Because I was gonna release episode 1 tomorrow. And he was like, oh, okay, let's do this right now. And so I swear to God, like within an hour, he had set up the feed and done the artwork and done all of these different things. And I was like, wow, it's almost like you run a podcast network. So then I got put in the Incomparable Slack. I went back and they had just all been talking about their experiences with musical theater, and they were excited about the show, so that was really lovely to see when you join a new community like that. So that I got squared away really quickly, which is great. And then it took me 2 hours to figure out how to post an episode because I did everything really slowly to make sure I didn't mess everything up, but that I didn't mess anything up. So ha! I did it. Also, just to give this video a little bit of real content, I want to tell a story related to musical theater. So I said something on Twitter about how I am infuriatingly not quite close enough to Ben Platt, and I don't know if I've told part or all of this story online before, but I don't think I have, or at least not all of it. So I have a friend who is friends with Ben Platt. Kind of. This is a guy in my show choir who, he's great, but the most infuriating thing about him is he went to the same high school as Ben Platt, who is the star of Dear Evan Hansen. He was in Pitch Perfect. He was the magician friend in Pitch Perfect, if you saw that. And he is Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen. And I saw the show. I was lucky enough to see it with the original cast. I think it's still all original cast, but he was extraordinary. He is incredible. He's maybe my favorite performer ever. And then I found out that Adam knows him. So they went to the same high school, and Ben Platt is a few years older than us, so they weren't in high school at the same time, but Adam's older sister was friends with him, and so he like knows him, has hung out with him. It was too much for me. And then they're friends on Facebook. So my friend Rachel and I, all these people are on Corner of the Sky, by the way. You'll hear all of their lovely voices. But so my friend Rachel and I found this out at the same time, and we were like, oh my God. And so we went on Facebook, and Adam is friends with Ben Platt on Facebook, and so both of us immediately added him and were immediately rejected. And then a few months passed, and then Adam and I got in the conversation. I don't want to explain like how this whole thing happened, but eventually it came to him inviting Ben Platt out for dinner. So we messaged him on Facebook, and he's like, hey Ben, we just performed Waving Through a Window in our concert, which is a true thing. This was right after our show. And it just made me think of you. I want you, like, if you're ever in Boston, let me know. I'd love to take you out for dinner again. And then he explained to me is that if he accepts this invitation, I get to come, but I have to pay for dinner. And I'm like, of course I will do this. So Ben sees the message, does not respond. I don't think he ever responded. And then later we looked on Instagram, and it turned out that while he was seeing Adam's Facebook message and then ignoring it, he was hanging out with Morgan Freeman. So there's that. At any rate, that's probably my closest connection to any Broadway star. So, I mean, I've met Anthony Rapp, but that's like at conventions. He's so small. He's a small, small man. You look at him and you see that he's short, but you don't realize how small he is until you're standing next to him. Oh, quick other Broadway story, speaking of Anthony Rapp though. So I went to GeekyCon a couple years ago, which is this really cool convention that they held in Orlando, and Anthony Rapp was one of the organizers. And so he was there, and so he was on panels and photo booths and stuff, but he's also just hanging out. And so one of the people who I didn't actually know, but we were in the same group that was there in Orlando. So Anthony Rapp played Mark in Rent. He was an original Broadway cast, and he was in the movie, and he's played him in like 1,000 other places. And so this guy goes up to Anthony Rapp, and he's trying to think of something smart to ask him. And so he says, hey, could you tell me like what you were thinking about and what you were feeling when you perform One Song Glory? And then Anthony Rapp looks at him and goes, oh, well, I didn't sing that song. And then this guy just goes, oh, okay. And then just walks away. Because in the show, One Song Glory is sung by Mark's friend, not by Mark. And he knew that, he's seen it, he just forgot, panicked, and just completely humiliated himself in front of Anthony Rapp. So at least I didn't do that. If you've actually watched this entire video, I'm gonna assume you have some kind of interest in musical theater. So I really recommend that you follow the podcast at COTS Podcast, because I am going to be using it to post about the show and everything, but I'm also going to be using it as my like musical theater podcast, because I tweet about musicals and stuff on my actual account, and I get some response, but I don't get a lot of response, which is fine, and I will continue to do it, but I'd rather say that stuff in a specific place that I'm more likely to like get in a conversation with people and stuff like that, because I want to talk to other people about musical theater. I have so many feelings. And I will also be live tweeting the Tonys from that Twitter West Coast time, so it will be 3 hours after it actually shows, which is annoying, but like I'll be in California. I will actually be in California when this video goes out, or I will be in Canada on my way to California. Don't ask. And finally, if you're also going to be in San Jose this week, especially if you're going to be at the Relay meetup or if you're going to be at App Camp for Girls, I'm going to be at both of those places hanging out with Relay people. I get an official name tag for the Relay event, and it looks so cool. I'm so excited for everybody to see them and for me to touch it in person and be like, oh yes, this is mine. Anyway, I should leave before this gets even more weird than it is. And if you're going to be in California, I am so excited to meet you / talk to you again. So it's going to be great. Okay, thanks. Bye.